So Adam and Eve have two sons, Cain and Abel. Okay. Now this is a great story. They said Adam and Eve had two sons, Cain and Abel. One tilled the soil and the other was a hunter. And they would go to offer gifts. And when Abel would offer his gifts, the smoke would be received up in the sky. And when Cain offered gifts, the smoke wouldn't go up. So Cain became angry and bitter and jealous of his brother. And one day he went out, he took a stone, and he killed his brother. And they said then his brother's blood just screamed to heaven for vengeance. But God said, no, I'm not going to kill Cain. I'm going to stigmatize him. He's not going to be able to get his brother's blood off of him. And for the rest of his life, people will always look at that and will know he killed his brother. And so now he goes through life stigmatized, and Abel is dead. Okay. It's a story of falling at the beginning of history. What's that story about? You know, let me put it this way. If you ever noticed in Scripture, there are 10 commandments, and 2 of them are against what? Jealousy. Notice even sex only gets 1. Okay. Remember, we have 2 commandments against jealousy. It's so much that they say from the very beginning, you know what began to haunt the human race and make the condition the way it is now? Jealousy. And they said jealousy is insidious. It works this way. When you read that story, you know you're not Abel, you're Cain. Because at one upon a time, 2 kids were born. You and your brother or your sister. And your sister was the fair-haired one. She was your mother's favored, and she never dropped anything. She was never colicky, and she was this beautiful kid. And everybody said, isn't she just the wonder of the world? See, her sacrifice was always accepted. Then you were born. And you were born at an inconvenient time for your mother, and it wasn't a good time in a relationship. And then you were a colicky kid besides, you know. And as a kid, you had eczema and you had other things going. And you didn't do well in school. And after a while, this all builds up inside of you. Why isn't your sacrifice going up? We become jealous. We become murderous. And we begin to murder each other, but we don't die. What happens, people see it on our skin. They look and say, well, you're a cynical SOB, you know, and we ostracize ourselves. See, these are deep stories. They explain why life is the way it is now. You know, again, analogical, poetic. Let me give you a simple example. You know, today, and we're about 2,000 years in another direction, where we're analytical people. We're not metaphorical people, okay? Remember last week I said, quoting Chesterton, he says, an atheist is simply another word for a person who can't get metaphor, okay? But see, today we explain things analytically. So I'll give you a very simple example. If you went to a university professor today, in the School of Medicine, or wherever, and you say, why can't chickens talk? Or a veterinarian school. Well, they would give you a whole physical thing about a chicken hasn't got a voice box and it hasn't got rational consciousness and so on, and would explain to you why chickens can't talk. If you'd have gone to a man at the time of Jesus or an elder or a woman or the time when these texts were written, said, why can't chickens talk? They'd have always begun this way. Once upon a time, they did talk. Okay. And then they would construct a beautiful metaphor image of how the chickens fell from that. And since then, chickens can't talk. And you would really understand it in a much different, with a different part of your brain. See, we understand an analysis through the left side of our brain. We understand the other through the right side of the brain, through stories, the analogical, metaphor. And these are stories of genius. You know, they say, why is history the way it is now? They say, well, once upon a time it wasn't. And then they ate the apple. Then Cain killed his brother. And then we had the Tower of Babel.